April 2020. Welcome to members of the public. We're sorry, obviously, because of government lockdown that you can't be with us at the Green Room, and because we're not there either. We're traffic around the world. So I would just, for clarity, run through the meeting arrangements, both for members of the public who are listening and watching, and for members around the virtual table. And that is the local authorities and police and crime panels coronavirus flexibility of local policy of crime, England and Wales, regulations 2020 apply to town and parish councils. I'm sorry about the mouthful, but it's correct. In particular, the regulations allow town and parish councils meetings to be held virtually from 4th April 2020 to 7th of May 2021 inclusive, provided the conditions set out in the regulations are complied with. Regulations 5(2) of the 2020 regulations provide that a member in remote attendance attends the meeting at any time if the member is able at that time to hear and where practicable see and be so heard and where practical be seen by other members in attendance. To hear and where practical see and be heard and where practical will be seen by any member of the public in order to exercise the right to speak at the meeting, and to be so heard and where practical will be seen by any other member of the public attending the meeting. All of the above conditions must be satisfied. Regulation 17 confirms that a local council complies with Regulation 8 of the Openness of Local Government Bodies Regulation 2022. To be made available to the public, close brackets, by making the written records and any background papers available for inspection by publishing on the website. Press and public access. The meeting will be streamed as usual to the Town Council's YouTube channel, with the link advertised on the Town Council's website, and we hope that you can hear us loud and as we speak now. In order to allow members of the public interest to ask questions about or comment on any matter on the agenda, the public forum will consist of one session of up to 30 minutes at the start of the meeting. Anyone wishing to join the meeting for that purpose will be invited to join a virtual waiting room via an advertised link from which they will be added to the meeting when the public forum starts at 7 p.m. and will leave the meeting when the formal business begins. And then you will be able to see on YouTube. So for members are recommended to confirm the arrangements for Town Council meetings to the 10th of May 2021. For the record, your silence is agreement. If you object, say so now. Clark, that is formally moved.
That's fine, yes. Just ask if anybody wants to object or abstain from that recommendation.
I think I've said that there. You don't say speak.
Okay, fine.
There's quite a lot of background noise, I'm guessing. I don't know whether other people are hearing the same.
Yeah, somebody's got a telly on in the background somewhere.
Well, Delian, have you got the radio on? Delian, have you got the radio on?
No.
What's the background? Yeah.
I've got, no, I'm plugged into my computer.
Okay, members of the public, a little internal housekeeping there. Apologies for absence. I have Councillor Binfield. Any more? No, Councillor for the record part. Declarations interest in any matter on the agenda. None? Okay. The Town Council. from the thread, silence from the approval, 10 minutes, 30 abstain. Formally moved Clark.
I'm not hearing any of this.
No, it's
No, I'm
underwater.
only getting every, essentially it's underwater, I'm getting every third word.
Are you talking about me, Councillor Logan?
Yes,
We can't hear you.
So, yeah.
I can hear the radio, but I can't hear any.
God.
Does someone have the TV or radio on?
Hmm.
No,
I don't.
I'm in a forest.
I'll
Well,
reiterate.
It's certainly clear, but I mean, all of us should have the ability to mute when we're not speaking. So I mean that should cut out any additional noise, shouldn't it?
Okay, all right. Who wants to go first? And then we'll turn it off. Then you can wave when you're finished.
No, I'm asking for the minutes to be approved of the 9th of March.
Okay, should we all wave then?
No, you be silent if you approve. You only speak as if you abstain or want to vote against. I'm taking it that we'll take them as read. Okay, formally moved, Clark. And for information, Planning Committee of the 17th of March and Planning Committee of the 15th of April.
good.
Okay, let's move to the financial report. Clark, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The usual information here. 31st of March balance, Town Council's funds, 120,225. That's the year-end position, of course. And the bank accounts have been reconciled successfully up to that date. Paid during March total 46,952, of which £7,038 went to Guardian. The full list is attached as usual to members' information. Receipts during the month, 10,951, with 4,137 coming from Salisbury Garden. The year-to-date variances were acceptable, at least for me. For the full financial year, payments in the period were £1,773 over the budget, and receipts were 2,256 under budget. That's the finance report for this meeting, Chair.
Thank you, Clark. I have to say that there is background noise. I heard that, but there is background noise. Because this is TV and radio and somebody's back. I don't know if anybody else is. That's it. That's perfect. That's great. Okay, we got the clerks, so I'll go around the table, starting with Councillor Watling. Do you have anything on the financial report?
No, nothing to report.
Thank you. Councillor Mack.
Nothing to say. No, thank you.
Councillor Bond.
Nothing, thanks.
Councillor Milford.
Just to say, it was my first year on the council. I'm sort of quite pleased that we've come on virtually on budget. So, good show.
Thank you very much, Councillor Milford. Councillor Cockett.
No, fine, thank you.
Councillor Lucas.
No, I'm just very, very pleased that we're solvent.
Yeah, we might have to lend some money to the government soon, Brian. Councillor Macaulay.
Good work, Clark, and your team.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Logan.
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Backhouse Fry.
Okay.
Any comments in the finance, Julian?
No.
No, thank you very much. Okay, so we'll take the finance report as read. I take it from Councillor's observations there that there are no objections to moving forward on that. Thank you very much. Okay, back to the agenda. Sorry, I just back to you, Clark. Sorry, receipts and payments.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I never quite know each year why I produce this report, because the background explains in some detail that this is simply a summary of the cash book for the year, otherwise known as receipts and payments accounts. I guess I do it because I have to make sure that it is actually a summary of the cash book records, and that proves to be the case, happily. But as the background indicates, town and parish councils with spending more than £200,000 have to present their accounts in the form of income and expenditure. I'll try, I won't bore you with the detail between the two, but what income and expenditure accounts do, and I know I'm speaking to some experts amongst you, so I'll keep it short in case I get it wrong, is to give an accurate picture of the actual activity during the year, whereas the cash book includes at the beginning some payments that were actually for in the previous year, and some income that was also carried over, and the same thing happens at the year end. So, for example, thanks to Morgan's work, we're due a very substantial credit on the electricity bill of several £1,000s. We haven't yet got the credit, so it's not in the cash book. So it distorts the amount we've actually spent on electricity. So, and there are lots of those. Happily for me, in getting from what you've got before you, namely the cash book summary, to income and expenditure accounts, it's a fairly detailed and tricky job. But I have the benefit of the support of the internal auditor and the amazing Mike Cox, who does our payroll for us. So by the next meeting, you will have proper income and expenditure accounts, and that's the meaningful document which will go to the external auditor. This one here, because it doesn't tell them what they want to know, or it doesn't tell you what you need to know either, really. So but I do it anyway because it's a summary of the cash book, and it's quite useful for you to see, as long as you know that its status is not final. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Happy to answer questions, of course.
Thank you, Clark, for that detailed explanation. As before, I'll go around the table. Councillor Watling, do you have anything for the clerk on this matter?
No, thank you.
Councillor Mack.
No, all good, thank you.
Councillor Bourne.
No, thanks.
Councillor Milford.
No, thanks.
Councillor Cockett.
No, just thank you, David.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Lucas.
No comment, no.
Councillor Macaulay.
Well done, Morgan.
Councillor Logan.
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you.
Thank you. I like your headphones, by the way. Councillor Backhouse Fry.
No problems.
Thank you very much indeed, councillors, for that. So we can take that as read and we'll move on. Thank you very much indeed. I reiterate what councillor said there. Clark, thanks to you and your staff for all the work that you put into that, because we are really an SME now when it comes to finance. Maybe we should be starting to claim some payments from the government at the moment. Right, moving on to something, a serious, everything on the agenda is serious, but this particularly for people who are looking in from outside of our residents who are following these proceedings on YouTube. We're moving on to Tony McCarthy's report on support for vulnerable residents. And I would just like to, of course, you all know that I'm not in the country, but I've been following this with great interest. We're all involved, no matter where in the world we are, because of the insidious and invidious nature of this grotesque virus. And I have to say that Ventnor Town Council and our officers, as usual, have been at the forefront of battling these things. And I'd like to, before we open this into the discussion, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Tony McCarthy for the excellent work that he's done, both in his office and in setting up the Facebook page, which has been, I've been following all the comments there and doing really a terrific job about it. So thanks. It's something that we never thought we would have to do, but it's something that, as I say, the baton has been taken, and Tony especially has run with this together with our staff members and other councillors. And also David, and the speed with which he both sought and was granted the £5,000 delivery fund grant was nothing short of miraculous. I've never in all my time as a councillor seen money being asked for and being given without, I think is without precedent. But and I hope it wasn't just us, I hope other councillors have the same story to tell. So we are, before we move to the recommendation, which is obviously in favour of Tony's report. Yes, sorry, David.
I'm sorry, Chair.
Yeah.
Councillor Mack has been very closely involved in all this.
Yeah, you're jumping ahead of me again, David, but I was just, my next sentence was, and in the light of this, I know that Councillor Mack has been working very hard with Tony with this, and I know that he has been in daily contact with the clerk and with Tony, Alison and others. So Jason, if you'd like to take the floor and explain a little bit of what you've been doing.
Hi, yeah. So yeah, as you say, it's pretty much set out in what Tony's put down. There's a few amendments that have moved on since it's written, so we'll come to that. As part of the deal, I attend the community cell, which is the Round Island discussion. Takes place on Zoom every Wednesday, chaired by Michael Lilly. And then we have access to Ian Lloyd and Colin Rowlands at the Isle of Wight Council, who are the strategic managers. Dave Stewart often takes part in that meeting too. And so you've got all the other groups from Ride, Freshwater, as you can imagine, those people that are the community hubs that are coming together. So I'll just give you a few numbers on that. As of last Wednesday at 4 o'clock, the Isle of Wight Council helpline had just over 3,000 calls since it started in April 2nd. 1,900 of those go through to a support referral. So they're working out about 129 a day. So that's what's happening there. The breakdown is usually for medication is about 44%, shopping's 33%, urgent food, which is coming up and which will probably change, certainly I think by the end of this month, because as you'll be aware, some of those staff employees will suddenly switch to 80% furlough. So we might well see that this that need increases. The food parcels going out to shielded individuals have been coming in via national government, and they are often supplemented by Isle of Wight Council, because they certainly at the beginning they were a bit ropey. So that's all in hand. That's not too bad at all. When you talk about shielding numbers, we're looking at on the island as of Wednesday last 4 o'clock, something like 6,000 individuals at this point. They're broken up into 3 tiers. Tier 1 and 2, which are those people under certain health conditions, and those then referred by NHS and GP. Tier 3 is something that people can individually, they can ask themselves to go on to a shielding situation. So if they test positive, then they can access that and put themselves through to it and get the benefits needed for that. Obviously, as you're aware, we had some of the issues with the pharmacy collection. That's well in hand now. It runs quite seamless. One of those options I was talking about that have moved on. So as you will have seen in the press, we have the post office going to open again from this Thursday. And so town council again and their volunteers will be responsible for the manning of the doors there too. So right in the heart of town, we will be doing what we do best. I think that's pretty much it. Everything else is fairly anecdotal. There is some thinking around the recovery phase, and on behalf of the Isle of Wight Council, that will be led by Chris Ashman, our friend in regeneration. So happy to take questions. If anything else you need to know.
Okay, thanks very much, Jason, and thank you for the work that you've put there. Just before I open it up, just reading about the County Councillor Gary Peace and County Councillor Rodney Downer taking an active interest in this as far as the post offices are concerned. Is that close to resolution?
I think, obviously, you'll know I wrote to Gary Peace, Dave Stewart, and about the situation with the chemists and the post office. We resolved the chemist one on our own, and it might be fair to say that Gary maybe got a bit too heavy in his delivery of what he wanted to do, but I guess the result is the same. We do need that space open. Certain pensioners without bank accounts, they do only have access to money through a post office account. I've certainly dealt with at least one gentleman last week who was certainly a victim of that. So it's I think it's glad that it's open. I think we go forward without without comment, I think, at this point.
Right. Okay. I see what you're saying about Councillor Peace, but I think emotions are running a bit high. Okay. Councillor Watling, do you have anything you'd like to bring up on this?
No, thank you.
Okay. Councillor Bond?
No, all good, thanks.
Councillor Milford?
Just one question. It was framed as being a grant stroke loan. Is the money actually given to us and we spend the money, or do we actually have to pay them back, or does anyone have to pay them back?
I think that's one for the clerk.
Didn't hear the question very clearly, Dave. Can you, Steve? Can you say again?
Could you repeat the question, Steve, please?
Yeah, I think it's the 5,000 was termed as a grant stroke loan. Is it in fact money that has to be repaid, or do we just get to spend it?
Thank you. Yes, it's
David?
I think, in that what we don't spend will be reclaimed, and they are requiring monitoring at the end of it. But thanks to Alison and Morgan, we have very detailed records of what's being spent and what isn't. We're well short of the 5,000 so far, because the volunteers are exceptional. As Alison will confirm, we've sent out mileage claim forms because the travel expenses are repayable, and as yet we've not had any back. People are saying, no, we're happy to do that, and we're fitted in anyway, and all of that. So, but yes, Steve, the answer is that any money not spent within what the grant is defined to be for, mainly shopping and medication collection, will be paid back.
Thank you, Clark. Is that okay, Councillor Milford? Is it explained to your satisfaction?
Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Councillor Lucas, sorry, Councillor Cockett.
Yeah, I'm hoping one of you can give me a sense of the operation at the moment and whether you're running below, at or above the capacity, and if the operation is really sustainable in terms of the volunteers and the staff and the councillors that are involved.
Councillor Mark.
Okay, I might be stealing David's thunder here, but no, I think we're quite happy. 40 plus volunteers. There are some that obviously like doing certain things more than others. I mean, for instance, we have that group that rings around, which is a very good monitoring situation. The chemist team is pretty much in place now, and once we get a post office team, that still leaves us maybe 10, 15 volunteers to carry on other aspects. As I say, we will be looking at, you know, more things coming forward in the next 2 weeks, I would have thought. But hopefully we're going to put out the leaflet again, which will be delivered to all Ventnor households, which will then, enhance people understanding that we're there if they need anything done, but also will bring forward volunteers, I hope.
Thank you very much. David, do you want to add to that?
Yes, just briefly, Chair. It's a good question, and we have debated as a staff team. We meet fairly regularly by go-to-meeting, and sustainability has been discussed once so far, because as far as the staffing of the town council is concerned, if it turns out to be months, it's not going to be sustainable, because Tony, Alison and Morgan are working very long hours of their time and some overtime to sustain the system and to develop it. In addition, it is beginning to settle down. This weekend was less demanding on staff time than the previous one. So we're looking to stabilise systems as soon as we can, Parkman House, so that we get our staff back. But everybody recognises this is a priority. We are inspired by the volunteers and their responses, and some of the comments that are coming back from other people in the town who are appreciative of what's being done. So we'll stick with it, I think.
Thank you, Clark. Councillor Lucas.
Well, I'm full of admiration for what Tony and his team have achieved in such a short time. They've really stepped up to the mark. We haven't had any meetings about it. We just got on with it. Well done, Tony.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Lucas. Councillor Macaulay.
I'd like to re-echo that on Tony and Jason, of course. I just got one question there. Maybe Jason, since you're here. Do you guys or any of your volunteers need protective clothing to prosecute the volunteer activities?
Councillor Mack, do you?
Yeah. So we operate under the guidelines of WHO guidelines and public health guidelines as they are at present. we suggest that protective gear isn't needed in lots of our scenarios. We do, and I think also will be the case at the post office, we do at boots wear gloves and masks. Just purely, I think that's more a perception thing really, that puts the staff as well as people at ease. So we're quite happy to do that if that perception makes people think. But yeah, so we follow on that through.
I asked the question out of concern, not out of propriety. I'm making sure you guys are okay, and so
that's fine. And I think if we get to a problem, I view there's a pyramid of gloves in Hurst window that if we can get through to them, we'll get to those first. So.
Okay, Councillor Logan.
Yeah, I'll just echo the admiration for Tony McCarthy and what he's done and put a remarkable effort together in a very short time. And I think it's shown Ventnor in very strong light. So definitely thanks to Tony McCarthy on that.
Thank you. Councillor Backhouse Fry.
Hello, right, I'm back on. Yeah, I know a great deal about what's going on. And I think that our council, the Undercliff, St Lawrence in particular, and hopefully Bonchurch and Knighton have been stunningly wonderful. It's been a huge revelation of how nice we all actually are. And I really thank Tony, because I know how much he's done, and all of you, of course. But we are very lucky to have such a wonderful team. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Off.
Thank you. And I think members won't object if I ask the clerk to record the council's thanks to Tony and his team for the work they're doing, and of course goes without saying Councillor Jason Mack for his leadership. Thank you very much, all concerned, and let's hope that it doesn't go on for too much longer, although that may be holding a hostage to fortune. Okay. St Boniface Fields, and we'll go back to the clerk for this, as Councillor Trugood's not here.
Sorry, Jeff. Just to bring members up to date, the Ventnor Community Shed is closed for the duration of the lockdown, very sensibly, of course. They are still working on some proposals for the development of the site, and the Assets and Services Group will meet with them once the restrictions are lifted to consider and talk about and share the thinking. The on-site toilet is currently closed, just so that you're aware of that. And the issue that I'm looking to you to make a decision about is, because we've discussed it as a staff team, and it was discussed at the Assets and Services meeting last week, is the question of whether it's reasonable to charge allotment holders at the current rate, given the current restrictions on movement. And the recommendation from the Assets and Services Group is that instead of charging from April the £100 annual cost, we move the charging date to the 1st of September. And just before I hand it back to the Mayor to update on the lease, we are approaching the end game of this finally. Paul Hargreaves, the Isle of Wight Council's senior surveyor, who's been left with the job of resolving the issues, has done a very good job so far. The outstanding issue is still the question of the electricity supply. It seems almost certain that the Isle of Wight Council are content to sign a 35-year lease to the Town Council without the right to renew, but for a 35-year term. But they won't sign it off until the electricity supply, which comes via the school premises, is secured, and that we hope, following discussions, will be forthcoming, given that the electricity supply is metered separately from the schools for the fields, and we pay directly on bills from SSE. So I'm not able to report a conclusion yet, but my hope would be that your May meeting will have a final resolution of the lease issue. So, Chair, that leaves you with the recommendation about or consideration of the allotment matter. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon, Morgan. Just to reiterate what the clerk was saying there about Paul Hargreavy, the work that he's done on this and the work that you've done on this, you know, in the grand scheme of things, seems to be huge compared to what could have been done on anything. But it seemed, yeah, I agree with you. They seem to be very, very close to the end game now, and hallelujah for that. Okay, well, before we, I'll just speak a little bit about the, if I may, before I open it up to other members, about the recommendation. I think it's only fair in view of what's happening nationally that we do reflect concern about that, and we do enforce is the wrong word, but we do show goodwill by treating the allotment holders in a fair and equitable fashion. No doubt members will have a view on that. And because of what's happened before, Ventnor sheds and people that haven't been gathering at the local meeting places, so very limited on what we can do. But that's who we are. Councillor Watling, do you have anything to add?
No, thank you.
Councillor Mack?
Yeah, I think I share your goodwill that we don't charge them, and especially at a time like now, we're looking at food security in the future to be quite important. So we can only nurture this.
Thank you. Councillor Bond?
No, fine, thanks.
Councillor Milford?
I'm fine with the waiving of the rent for 6 months.
Thank you. Councillor Cockett?
No special comments, thank you.
Councillor Lucas?
Yeah, I agree with the proposal to withhold the charging.
Thank you. Councillor Macaulay?
I agree, likewise.
Thank you. And Councillor Backhouse-Fry? Delia, did you want to speak about the allotment deferral? I can't hear anything, Morgan. I don't know if there's a problem there or not, or whether she's just not wanting to talk about it.
All right, it's gone.
No, I can't hear anything from Councillor Backhouse. Okay, well, we'll go forward. So we'll take that proposal as carried. Clark? Clark, did you hear that?
Chair, yes, that's fine with me to record that as agreed. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. And with that, we move on to the annual meeting, which again is a result of the COVID-19, the coronavirus pandemic. I'm not going to read through it. I'll take it the members, it has been circulated. It's self-explanatory. The upshot is that members are recommended to not hold the annual Town Council meeting for 2020 and not to make arrangements for an annual town meeting in 2020. In other words, deferred until 2021. Once again, Councillor Watling.
No, that makes perfect sense. Thank you.
Councillor Mack.
Yeah, all good.
Councillor Bond.
Fine, thanks.
Councillor Milford.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Councillor Pluckett.
Yeah, no problem for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Lucas.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that.
Councillor Macaulay.
Yes, agreed.
Thank you. Councillor Logan.
Yes, I'm good with that.
And Councillor Backhouse-Fry still not on board, Morgan? No? Okay, well, that is carried, Clark.
Thank you.
Which brings us back to you, Clark, Town Clerk's report.
Yes, the usual collection of things worth mentioning. Just record formally that we're all working from home, but working, I think the evidence is clear that we're working very effectively, and the arrangements are now quite settled as far as that arrangement goes. So we're able to meet whenever we need to. We have routine meetings 2 or 3 times a week.
Morgan, can Stuart?
Okay. The youth project officer posts, we postponed the interviews, obviously, until the restrictions are lifted. You need to know that, unfortunately, Chris Watts has had to stop the daily weather readings at St Catherine's weather station until the current restrictions are lifted. He's been advised to do that by the Met Office, who control that facility. 31 bus service, just to record that as far as the clerks are concerned, we've received very few, well, I've received 1 complaint about it, and that's the extent of it. And the Facebook appears to be fairly silent on the matter. I think it's a tribute to residents again that they have clearly understood the reasons for it. I wanted to share with you the arrangements for the internal audit, but they're all set out there so you can read them. We've sent Gareth Hughes, who's our internal auditor, the documentation he's asked for. And as yet, we haven't had any communication from our external auditors. But as most of you will know, the deadlines for reporting and completing the annual return have been extended. It used to be July, it's now September. So we've plenty of time, Chair. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, Morgan, I keep forgetting. I'm trying to be mannerly, but then I keep forgetting to switch myself back on, which is very unusual for me. Councillor Watling, anything for the clerk?
No, thank you.
Councillor Mack.
No, all good.
Councillor Bond.
All good, thanks.
Councillor Milford.
Nothing to get.
Councillor Councillor Cockett.
No, just thanks together to David and the staff.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Lucas.
No comment. Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Macaulay.
No, thank you, Clark.
Councillor Logan.
No, I'm all good, thank you.
Thank you very much. In that case, that concludes our meeting. I'd just like to thank you all for your forbearance, and thank you to members of the public looking in on the YouTube channel. Thank you very much for watching. I think this has been a successful meeting. A few glitches along the way, but I think they've been haven't lasted very long. And a particular thanks to Morgan Williams, our administrator at Salisbury Gardens, for setting this up. Thank you very much indeed, Morgan. You've done a really terrific job. Thank you very much indeed to all.
We can go now if you want to. Morgan, do you